Greetings, everyone. This is Gerard, editor-in-chief of Filipino Soul Magazine, aka SGIB Magazine. This stands for Soldiers Got Intentions. Believe that, because everyone should be soldiering for something: a dream, a goal, an idea, a train of thought, something. And owner of PBG's production, that stands for Photos by Gerard, the best in freelance publicity photography. Well, welcome to the aquatic part of my workout. Today, I thought I'd do something different. Today, I thought maybe I would talk to you about one of the featured artists in the magazine who I interviewed. Now, before I do, let me tell you the story. I guess you can put this down as a Hollywood story. I oftentimes get invited to events, to come, to carry my message about dreams and nothing more than plans awaiting action, or just as looking out for talent, new talent, see if there's anyone want to represent. So I got invited to this event, and it was a big auditorium, I'm sitting like up here in front, and then of course it got you people in the back, right? So anyway, so to watch the show, and I'm dressed up as Double OG, you know what I'm saying? A hat is not a hat if it's not tilted, and a flower is a flower if it's wilted. One of those type of things. In other words, I'll be putting on the dog. And so after it was over with, this little scrawny guy came up to me and said, look, he said, I only have one press kit. And let me stop there for right now and talk about press kits. A press kit is very important for an artist, a model, or whoever it is who wants to enter into this industry. Unless you plan to hand your material to everybody who you wanted to, and the industry is virtually impossible, you're going to need a press kit. A press kit consists of an 8x10 photo of yourself, bio information of yourself, and your body of work, rather it be a CD or rather it be photographs. That is a press kit, and that's what you need. So he says to me, I only have one press kit. And he says, I was wondering who to give it to. And he said, I want to give it to you. So I said, oh, okay. One of the reasons why I don't deal with internet press kits, because internet press kit forces me to have to sit down and listen to your music or whatever it is that you're playing. And the chances of that happening is not going to happen. But if you send me a press kit that has a CD in it, where at some point in time I might be on an open road and I might be driving it, and I'm one of those individuals who have to be in the mood to listen to new music. And when I find myself in the mood to listen to new music, that's when I may reach back and grab, let me grab this CD, pow, and pop it in. And that's where you got my full, undivided attention, because, it's nothing but you. You and me, and I'm listening to your music. So anyway, the artist, so I said, okay, thank you. I took his press kit, and he was from Ghana. He's a reggae artist. He bills himself as one of the only reggae artists who never used marijuana and who's never smoked cigarettes. So already that makes him a novelty, because of the stigma that what was always thought about for reggae artists, that they're always smoking the ganja, and drinking and having a good time. So he kind of breaks that stereotype by not doing that. He lived in Canada. He also traveled. He travels around the world in different these fundraisers, where they're raising money for Ethiopia, or they're raising money for some impoverished part of the African country, as a troupe of artists who perform. He has a great number of CDs. One CD I worked on, because he asked me to manage him, and I signed him. And when we had the launch party for the CD, the launch party was taking place in Canada. So I'm driving across the border. I got my photographer with me in the back seat. He's lounging, he's sleeping. So when I get to the border, they said, will I come inside? So I said, sure, come inside. So they asked me, he says, have you ever been arrested? And I'm joking. I said, well, tell me what black man has never been arrested. And said, oh, you've been arrested? I said, sure. Because it's nothing. I got arrested many years ago. I mean, 10, 15 years ago. No big deal, So he said, oh. he says, well, because of that, we can't let you into Canada. I said, what? I said, what are you talking about? I said, I was married to a girl from Toronto. You know, my second or third wife was from Toronto. They said, we're sorry. He said, we don't even let people with DWIs into our country. I said, what? I said, okay, well, you know, they said, turn your car around and go back and all this stuff. So I said, well, I got my photographer in the back. They said, there's someone else in the car with you? I said, yeah, my photographer. And that's what said all these alarm bells went off like I was smuggling. So they rushed out and got Nate. Nate is a very sedate type of an individual. I mean, when I mean sedate, I mean, you know, he's about 2 eyelids shade from nodding out from an overdose of Thorazine. So he's very cauliflower, very mellow dude. And so next you know, I see him bring him on his tiptoe, like what's going on? I said, officer, he said, why didn't you tell us there was someone in the car? I said, I just did tell you there's someone else in the car. You never asked me if there's someone else in the car. You know, and I'm looking at it, I don't want to say that. I said, that's your inspector's fault. Why did he look in the back of the car? He wasn't hiding, he was sleeping. So of course they searched the car, found nothing. They may have found 1 or 2 marijuana seeds, and they said, well, have you ever smoked marijuana? I said, sure. I said, when was the last? Not a while ago. I don't know a while ago. She says, okay, because we found marijuana seeds. Okay, well, now you know why. So I missed the launch party, to make a long story short, because of they wouldn't let me into the country of Toronto, of Canada. So I said to myself, okay, who needs Canada? But I went back to the United States. They told me I can always come back and protest it. So I went back, I drove back to New York, then turned around and drove back to Canada to find out how can I have this thing lifted. So they said, oh yeah, you can have it lifted. So you can pay $3,000 and then you can submit your application. There's no guarantee you would get permitted, but at least this week you start to pay. I said, wait a minute. I'm gonna pay you $3,000 US dollars on a humbug? That's not going to happen. Who needs Canada? So anyway, getting back to Quasi. Quasi has supported me for a lot of years. He's done with me for Black History Month. We've also had events around him. And in fact, in the magazine, let me see if I can find him. Yeah, this is Quasi Selassie. I don't know if you can see him here. You probably can see him now. I don't know how much glare you're getting. Yeah, there he is. You see, that's Quasi Selassie. And you can just kind of see all the albums that he's had released over the years. So this brother's been very busy. I mentioned on, which one? This one. So if you happen to get a hold of this album, you look on the back, you'll see it says Manager Gerard McLeod. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the song of Quasi Selassie. This song I actually thought would have been a crossover song that would have made it in the United States charts if given a chance to play. But you know how they go, often the time, you know, they shut their doors on the new music. So right now, this you're going to be listening to Quasi Selassie. This is his song. Maybe I'll play a couple of them. But here we go. You'll figure out the name because you'll hear the hook.
We are the one. And as you gone away, do you really want to see me cry? Don't make me cry. Don't make me cry. Don't make me cry. Don't make me cry. The first time I met you, you promised to be mine forever. Have you already forgotten what you said to me? Remember the dreams we had together. Remember the fun we had together. Remember the things together. No please, no please, don't make me cry. Don't make me cry. With another one, and now you gone away. Do you really want to see me cry? Don't make me cry. Don't make me cry. Don't make me cry. Don't make me cry.
The pain gained, the stain, the person you love, the pleasure, treasure, aligned. Good times you shoved, the backlash, rattle, and tattle. The saddle upon which you sat, you've used and abused me, wiped on me like a welcome mat. Don't wonder why you ain't fly, ain't no side reply. Effort you ain't done, and the tear runs on my mind. Ain't no other one who can plan to satisfy you. I tried, John, me, we both agree. You can't make me cry.
I just want to say, the added rap that was in this song here, what really told me that this could have been a crossover song. I just want to stop and point that out.
Don't make me cry. Don't make me cry. Don't make me cry. Don't make me cry. Bang your down for me face, lover. Bang your down for me face. From on, you bang your down for me face. From on, you bang your down for me face. You bang your down.
That's Crazy Selassie. Don't make me cry. Okay, let me. I was trying to think of what other artists who I may want to give you a little more story on. Okay, I'll tell you what. Let's go with the Four Tops. You know, when I did the interview of the Four Tops, I'm not gonna play any of those songs. I don't have one queued up. Well, I do. MacArthur's Park. You heard it yesterday. MacArthur's Park, one of my favorite songs. But when I was interviewing the Temptations and the Four Tops, and that whole thing came about. If you look at the magazine, you see I interviewed everybody. In the magazine here, I interviewed people who aren't actually members of the Four Tops, but are a member of the people who work behind the scenes of the Four Tops. Whether they were the music director, whether they were working in wardrobe, or whether they were working on where they play percussions. People who were behind the scenes of artists. You have to understand, those people are the ones who, they are also following their dreams and their goals, because that's what the magazine's about. It's about people following their dreams and their goals. Look at Rick James. You know, Rick James was a drummer. I think he happened to have been related to Otis Williams. I think he was Otis Williams' nephew or something like that. But he started out as a drummer, as a percussionist. And so it's not uncommon for someone who worked as in a background position to ultimately take center stage and become a superstar. If you want another example, Hannah Montana or Britney Spears. You know, they were on the Musketeers. You know, you think when they were doing the Musketeers, the Musketeer Club, that Britney Spears had the wildest eye dream I ever thought, or Miley Cyrus had a thought that they were going to be superstars. No, but they started somewhere. So their dream was, and that's why they were. They did that. So people who work behind the scenes, to me, are just as important as actually the person who's in front of the stage, because without them, there could be no you. So anyway, so while the Temptations were performing on stage, you know, I was interviewing the Four Tops. And while the Four Tops were on stage, I was interviewing the Temptations. So it was hard to kind of get to do both of them. You know, the Temptations, I was able to get fullest because when the Temptations had came in, you see, the secret about how I get into concerts, I don't mind telling you this now, is that when I get into concerts, I always go 3-4 hours early when they're setting up the stage. Because see, when they're setting up the stage, you talk to people and you find out who is the top dog, number one. And for being there for so long, when the security and staff comes in, because you're already planted as someone who's there, they don't question you being there because you were there. You were there before they came in. Who were they to question you? So anyway, so that's what happened with the Temptations. I was there, and I ended up latching on to the Four Tops. I can't remember his name. Son, Abdul. Abdul, who is now currently the lead singer of the Four Tops, who we know. Levi Strauss was the best tenor in soul music history. You know, he was the voice who passed away, but Abdul had taken the lead position as for the Four Tops. So when I was interviewing him, well, first when the Temptations were coming in, you know, I'm standing by the door, you know, and you know, as the Temptations are coming in, people are greeting the Temptations, blah, 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 blah. And so I saw Otis. Now, Otis I knew from the pre-Grammy party with Bonnie. So I said, Otis, I said, I'm a friend of Bonnie Hilton Sweeney's. Because I told you, Bonnie, and we know if there's a heaven up above, she's teaching people how to network. We love you, Bonnie. And we know you love this more. So anyway, so when Otis he went in and he came out and he opened the door. And he said, you come in, you come in, you come in, and said, and you come in. And when he pointed at me, it was almost like a bolt of lightning, like this. And so I got into the dressing room of the Temptations. Now the Temptations, now they're busy, you know, getting dressed and all that stuff, and again preparation for the show. In fact, Otis was the only one eating dinner, you know. So Otis called his keyboard player over and told his keyboard over to sit there. His name was Robert Farrow, I think it was at the time. And Otis had this hook that was going through his mind, you know, and he had a keyboard play it. And he called the rest of the Temptations, and they're right there in the dressing room while he's eating, and he's doing over this thing. I can't remember. It's on my YouTube video. If you go to SGIB Mag MAG on TV / the G spot, that's GEE spot, and look for it, you'll see it. And I was able to get the footage of them rehearsing it, you know, and then I also was able to get the footage of them performing it live. So it was to me, it was very, I felt very unique footage to have them rehearse, you know, some chords that they were going to perform, and then have them actually perform the chords while on stage. So I felt very good about that. It was funny because in their entourage, they had a little short midget girl. And for some reason, I couldn't take my eyes off this little short midget girl. I don't know what it was about her, but man, let me tell you, the mind was just wandering and wandering and wandering and wandering. I think today, everybody has a fantasy. I think today my fantasy is the one day to have a midget. I want her so small, you gotta help her on the bed. That's my fantasy. But anyway, so I did get a chance to interview Abdul, the leader of the Four Tops. They were getting ready to leave, so he granted me an interview. And so we interviewed and all this stuff. And so what got me is I said, thank you for letting me interview you. And he said, thank you for not wearing jeans. I never forget him saying that, thank you for not wearing jeans. And I need to stop right there and kind of remind the younger generations coming up. I know you got talent. You know, I know you're going to be successful. But you know, there was a time when how you looked, how you carried yourself, how you appeared to others was very important. And I always found it very distasteful that an artist can wake up, run around all day, play basketball, you know, get high, you're drunk, and you know, not out somewhere, and then you know later on that night be performing in front of hundreds of thousands of people and haven't even washed his ass. You know what I'm saying? You know, and you know that's not how how I think it should be. You know, but then again, you know, that's that generation that hip hop, that generation, because I guess they didn't have the money or the investment to end up with 4-piece suits like they did with classic soul and learn choreography and do all that stuff. The strict discipline that was used back in those days when the Godfather Soul, Mr. James Brown was performing, or a lot of the other artists. Mr. Brown would tell you, and a lot of them would tell you that he'd be dancing, and when he turned around, he looked at his band member's shoes, and if your shoes were dirty, he would nod and say, okay, that's $5. You know, if your suit was wrinkled, he would fine you $5. You know what I'm saying? You know, so that's how strict it was to make sure that you were the best you could be whenever you performed in front of an artist, a crowd. So I was very happy to dress the part of paying homage to someone as great as the Four Tops, and him recognizing, saying that thank you for not wearing jeans. Okay, this is Gerard, editor-in-chief of Filipino Soul Magazine, aka SGIB Magazine. Remember, your dreams are nothing more than plans awaiting action. Never disrespect the elderly, and always pull someone up. And sometimes you may be the only one to see your vision. And the best revenge in life is to live good. I don't know about you, and I know it's snowing in New York, and I feel sorry for you. But the best revenge in life is to live good. Just look around you, baby. I'm living good in Ayala, Philippines. All right? If you haven't got a dream, a goal, an idea, a train of thought, don't worry about it. Do what I do. Get as much as you can, as fast as you can, and go home. And if you're lucky enough to have a woman like Ollie Woodson, former lead singer of The Temptations, once sung, treat her like a lady. And ladies, if you're lucky enough to have a good man like me, make him feel like a king. I love you like a love song, baby. I'll talk to you later. Peace.